and I'm black, y'all. And I'm black, y'all. And I'm black, y'all. And I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
Hello, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. It might be a bit of a rant. We're going to quickly talk about Milestone Returns. So, Milestone Returns started in 2021 under the DC brand because it needs to be separate but equal, as we said earlier. For now, there's, three main titles, and they created them as Season 1. Now there's two titles in Season 2, Hardware and Icon and Hardware, and Statics, Shadows of Dakota. I think there's also another one that's about villains that I've not been able to get my hands on in any way, shape, or form. So there's a few different things with this imprint that has been going on since 2021. But let's just talk about it. So, people who know me know that I ate a lot of things for all sorts of reasons. I'm not going to hide it. I really, really dislike current era kind of things. Okay, what we see on TV, what we see in movies, what we see in American comics in huge quantity, those kind of things really tick me off in different ways for all sorts of different reasons. But in the end, once I start doing something, when I start reading something, when I start watching something, in the end, I find enjoyment in it. I find some form of enjoyment in aiding it or making fun of it or just trying to understand what came underneath it. For movies, TV shows, especially comic books, I mean, I get them. I mean, I've already paid for them, or I spent the bandwidth on Netflix, or 10, 15, 20 bucks on a DVD or a Blu-ray. So I bought it. I'm going to try to find some enjoyment in it. Even poorly written characters, even poorly acted movies, all sorts of things. There's always something in it that you can find likable. Sometimes it's even the author, he's been improving, she's been working, and you can see that there's ideas that are for that particular author, and then some stuff that maybe the editor kind of did that messed things up. In the end, often enough, especially in comics, I end up with the attitude of, I'll read just one more. I'll buy one more volume of that manga. I'll go to the library, get one more volume from there. I'll ask Captain Sabaton if he can get me some things in the Caribbeans for me to finish reading it. I mean, I have entire series of manga. We've got the best image here for it for Shigi Yugi that I bought exactly on that premise. After the fourth volume or so, I was kind of done, but I like the author. I don't dislike the characters all that much, even though they're very poorly written. I'm gonna enjoy it, and at some point, we'll review it, we'll talk about it. I'll lend it to a friend, and my friend might like it more. Who knows? There's always some enjoyment to get from it. So, then we get to Milestone Returns. I got Archon and Hardware as a pack-in when ordering Wildcat Seasons Volume 6 off the DC website. I had a hard time getting it locally, so went to the DC website, ordered it with a discount, gave it to me as a pack-in for peanuts. So I was like, hey, how bad can it be? I mean, I know Icon, don't really know Hardware, didn't know where that would go. Hey, it could be fun. I mean, how bad can it be, right? I mean, it's got woke pre-built into it. So, I get it. It's my first issue, season 2. So I kind of missed a bit, but hey, I start reading it. And, well, in the first page, it was already reaching peak levels of anti-white racism. So I was already questioning my judgment at that point. And throughout the entire volume, it kind of keeps getting worse. So I've got Icon and Hardware. I start reading it. Don't really like it, but I'm sure there's something behind it. There's something I'm missing because there's previous volumes. All right. Icon and Rocket is available at my local store for volume 1. Grab it off the rot box. If you don't know what a rot box is, it's a box where you put the comics to rot. That's literally what it is. It's the comics that generally don't sell. The rest I ordered along with Hardware Season 1 from my favorite Canadian back issue reseller. I read through Volume 1. I was thoroughly underwhelmed, except for the alien part at the beginning of it. That part I liked. And, well, there's 5 more volumes. How bad can it get? I'm sure it'll get better. There'll be action, etc. Well, there is a lot more action. There's superheroing going on in the other volumes, so at least there's that. But you know what? When they killed baby Clark Kent in their story, because they needed to make the very white bad guy look very bad, I had a very nasty taste in my mouth at that point. If you don't want Superman in your story, leave Superman out. It's not because you're DC that you have to have Superman. You had all of Vertigo, for God's sake. You had the previous Milestone runs that didn't have Superman. Just don't put him in. But no, you needed to kill the American ideal of Clark Kent. Of course, every white character we meet is evil, dumb, or incompetent, or a combination of those 3. And as far as male role models go, the only one that's a positive role model is Icon, who is an alien, and that has a bit of a warped morality because of that. And we do get to see Virgil, Static, a little bit later on, as a great and wonderful simping soy boy. That's the only way I can describe him. So Icon and Rocket, kind of not that great overall. So I grab Hardware. The ending of Icon and Rocket is catastrophically bad. We'll review it at some point. So I grab the Hardware comics and I'm like, well, how bad can it be? Basically, it's Black Iron Man. You can't mess that up. First issue in the rot box of the local comic book store. As an aside here, Magic Order 2, which is 3 or 4 years old by now, I think even 4 years old, as its number 1 on the spinner rack. It still has a copy of their number 1 on the spinner rack. Magic Order 3 as well. Maybe there's something going on here. You can see my first video on Hardware if you want to know how I felt about that particular comic. Just the 10-second intro should make you understand that there's an issue. Icon and Rocket was a bit racist toward Caucasian. Hardware, rather than just being, casual, right, racism and ideologically racist, this time they're not even hiding it and they're directly attacking it. You see another minority, an Asian scientist, but he has to be crippled and he has to be terrified as soon as something happens, and he has to be subservient to both the evil white guy. I was going to say evil black guy. Yeah, Hardware is evil. There's no question around it at that point. And of course, like I said, the Asian scientist is crippled because he needs to have enough oppression points to be a character. If he was just a standard Asian scientist guy, he wouldn't be oppressed enough. So you need to even it out. There's 2 positive male figures in this comic, however. You've got Hardware, if you think that terrorists and mass murderers are positive. And you got some bodyguard dude who's subservient to the 2 lady characters who help Hardware, one of which is an engineer, and the other one is the dean of law at her school. I'm not making this up. All right, at that point, I'm a bit phased out. Ambivalent, not sure what I had committed to, but okay. There's still stuff available in the rot boxes. Static Season 1 is available in the rot box. I grab it. There's at least 6 or 7 other copies of it. That doesn't look very good, especially since this is your premier Milestone character, the one that you should be able to sell tons of copies of. And Season 2, number 1, is also in the rot box. And that comic was 1 month old. We just said here, in the spinner rack, you've got Magic Order. Static is probably the easiest character to write for. Young teenager, he's hip and intelligent, so he's got easy traits to work with. You have him do all sorts of wacky adventure in his own town, fight crime, fight bullies. Basically, he's a black Spider-Man. So, is that what we get? Absolutely not. We have Vita Ayala that decides to write him as edgy and dark as possible, interjecting some Puerto Rican slang also in his language because blacks are Puerto Ricans nowadays, I guess. I'm actually finding it pretty good that he didn't come out as bisexual in his first volumes, but having seen other black media and black produced media, I do realize that homosexuality is not viewed very well by the black population. So that might have come into it. We've got zero levity, no fun at all. Angst, 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 while you're able to shoot lightning bolt, fly around, and do all sorts of crazy superhero things. And we get no with great powers come great responsibility moment. We get no you've got powers, you've got abilities, you should use them for good moment. We get angst and we get parents that are worried about their kids being represented as a bad thing. Once again, not the greatest of. I will keep reviewing the Milestone comics, but I will take breaks. I'm not going to do them week over week. I'm not going to do them back to back. It's actually painful to work on these comics. They are not good. The characters get worse volume over volume rather than better. I'll be honest again, I hang out on the dregs of the internet, not just on YouTube. I hang out just about everywhere and not places where polite company would like to know sometimes. And I've never seen something as racist as those comics. Not only because it's 100% anti white man misanthropy, but because they push everything to a maximum and perform acts of cultural vandalism on top of historical vandalism. Just so you guys know as well, body positivity saves the day at the end of the story. We'll get there in time. For now, I'm probably going to hit Warlands or Wildcat Volume 6. Might do Wildcat Trilogy as well, something along those lines. I just want to get the awful taste out of my mouth and get back to it after doing a few better works. I hope you guys have a very nice day. Thank you for hearing me rant, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.